Hello, lovely Biscuit Tin listeners. It's Sam here again with another bonus mini episode to keep you going while we're preparing season 3. This episode was recorded back in October 2024 when Jess was still busy sewing for her wedding. When we talk about having a catch-up in there, that episode is now out. If you haven't heard it, it's one of our main episodes that we release. It's a lovely, big, chunky episode where you can hear all about Jess's creative journey. Not just the practical sewing aspects, but all those other lovely bits that she learned about herself along the way. So that is out. So when you hear us talking about that coming, you can already listen to that. So this is me, when I say us, this is me doing a little mini episode to keep for our lovely bonus Biscuit Tin members who get these episodes. But now that it's been a while and they've had a good listen, we thought we'd share it with you. Today's topic is me talking about mindful rehoming. We'd really love to know your thoughts about this, so I hope you enjoy listening and do reach out and tell us what you think. Hello everyone, this is a bonus episode for our Biscuit Tin members. And it's Sam here again. I know, 2 months of me. Sorry, everybody. But Jess is in the throes of wedding dressmaking and all things wedding, but also trying to manage life as well. And that means that sometimes, as friends, we step up and take the weight for a bit. And that's what I've said to Jess I would do. I'm sure you'll cope with having me 2 months running. But Jess will be back soon, and she and I are busy recording the final 2 episodes of the season as I record this. So don't worry, Jess is around, and we're looking forward to doing a special episode after her wedding of just a catch up of everything and how it's gone and how she feels about it and everything. So you will get to hear from Jess then. So for today's bonus episode, I want to talk to you about something called mindful rehoming. Now, this is sort of along the veins of when something is no longer wanted in your home, what do we do with it? And in my head, I sort of see it as there's 4 things that we can do. One is put it in the bin, which I would think we'd all agree is not mindful, yet for some things that is the option. Secondly, sometimes in life, I've done it because there's just too much else going on, too much stress, just need to do these things sometimes. And also, do you know what? Sometimes we just got to do what we need to do. Option 2 is the tip. Now, I don't know if our international listeners know what the tip is. The tip is sort of an English thing. I don't know how else to explain it. When I was a kid, the tip was just basically a big landfill site where you could drive up with your car and chuck stuff on and also take stuff away. So there was an element of recycling about it. And I remember my dad picking up a bike that was broken and taking it home and doing it up for me. Can't do that anymore at the tip. So the tip nowadays is somewhere where you drive up. You have to prove you live in the council area that runs it, otherwise they charge you. You have to prove that what you've got is just waste from your home, not a job, otherwise they'll charge you. And then when they let you through, you've got basically very large receptacles to put metal, paper, garden waste, wood, etc. in, and you're not allowed to take anything away, and there's very strict rules because, like most things in life, the council contracted this out and a company runs this and they're going to reuse, recycle, rehome those things. There's a programme on BBC actually where one of these upcycly celebrities goes to the tip and gets bits out of people's cars. You have to get special permission to do that. Obviously, the people let them. So the tip is not ideal. Things do get recycled there, but we can't know, and there are things that need to go to the tip. I took a broken garden table there the other day. I had recycled it and revamped it and treated the wood many times, and it was done. So then the third option is charity shop. And whilst charity shops are great, because for many of you who know me will know, I love a charity shop. I know elsewhere in the world you call them op shops, thrift stores, etc. In the UK, they're generally quite small. We have a couple of big ones called superstores, but they're nothing like I see when I watch these videos of the US and what they have. So you would sort of drive into your local high street, pick your charity shop of choice, and persuade them to take your bags. Often my local ones have signs up saying no more donations today, that sort of thing. So you've got to hope that they'll agree to take them and hope that they're not full. And sometimes naughty people will leave things outside the shop at night, which really is not okay because that is a form of fly tipping. But charity shopping can be problematic. Biggest thing being that only about 30% of what goes to charity shops actually gets sold. So I'm going to come back round to charity shops in a bit, but it's not that I don't like them, because I do. I love them. I donate to charity shops. I buy from charity shops. But when we're talking about mindful rehoming, we need to consider that as part of this. The fourth way is obviously to sell or give away. So in the UK, we have Facebook Marketplace, Vinted, eBay, and lots of these like sort of local area apps or groups. So you can give things away on like Facebook Marketplace for free and just get someone to come and pick it up. It can be a bit troublesome at times, people messing you around, or you can sell it. Vinted has become huge. We've got Depop, eBay, lots of things like that where we can sell them. I find the selling quite interesting because it's kind of the hope that someone else is buying it because they want to wear it. But obviously once you give it away, you don't know where it's going, or sell it. But at least it's avoiding going in the bin. And selling obviously gives you the chance to have a little bit of pocket money to buy on something else. Now, the reason I'm talking about this today is because I was prompted to think about it after the 8 charity shop jackets, after the 8 quilted jackets I made. So if you watch me on YouTube, where I am Sequin Girly Creates, or follow me on Instagram, where I am Sequin Girly, you will know that sometimes I fall down a hole of really going into one item of clothing and making various patterns, learning lots of things, finding out what I like. Now, I try not to be a conspicuous consumer and an over consumer, but sometimes, despite how much I really love watching YouTube and learning from other people, which has changed my life and my sewing, I have to say, and there are brilliant YouTubers out there sharing great details, great information, support, ideas. They've really, really helped and inspired me over the years. Sometimes you've just got to make it for yourself to find out if you like it, to find out if it works for you. But also with the quilted jackets that I made, I also really fell down a hole of trying out different finishes and different sleeve types, and also different types of quilting, from quilting myself to pre-quilted fabrics to a quilt that came from a charity shop that was deemed suitable for a dog bed. Now, before you meet me and step away from me, it just had a few stains on. By the time it had a good treat for the stains, been through the washing machine, and a good dose of sunshine, it was absolutely fine. And I really enjoy sometimes that full sort of in-depth learning of creating something like that. But the reality is not all of them are going to be successes. So I can't just stack these things up in my house and hope for the best that I'll always have room. And also, they're not fulfilling their destiny as a piece of clothing, as I like to think of it, or a piece of fabric. So on one of my recent YouTube episodes, I did ask for suggestions on what to do, and somebody said I could donate them to a charity that helps people with having appropriate like clothing for work, etc., and that sort of thing. And they also gave me a link to a charity that is, it's kind of like Vinted, but for people who want to give things to people who need things for free. And that I thought was really interesting as well. But unfortunately, not all of my quilted jackets were fully finished. So there was one of the quilted jackets which was actually a raglan sleeve, and I made the pieces but didn't bind it or finish the edges or anything, because as soon as I put it on, I realised it was too wide for my shoulders. And that was included sizing down, having followed the advice of other people and what they'd said about this jacket. So I'd stopped at that point. And the annoying thing with a raglan sleeve is unless you completely size down at the shoulder around that, it's hard to adjust. So I actually took it along to the Southern Social and put it on the swaps table. And a lot of people were shocked that there was a quilted jacket on the swaps table. But I decided that what I wanted to do was give someone else the opportunity to finish and enjoy it, because it was lovely and it looked really nice. It just wasn't for me. And rather than finish it in the colours that I would like, I thought it might be better to give it to somebody partially finished, because in our little sewing community, that meant someone else could make it their own. And I'd done the worst bit, which was cut out the pattern and cut out the fabric. Just like buying a kit. So this got me thinking about this sort of mindful rehoming. And then I saw a really interesting article. And it goes through what they deem mindful rehoming as. Now, obviously, I've just been through the different categories of rehoming that I see. And they say mindful rehoming rejects the binary of donation bin or trash bin, and when it's time to rehome our unwanted things. In fact, mindful rehoming assumes that the donation bin should be your last resort. Now, that's a really interesting thing, isn't it? That donating to charity is your last option. Mindful rehoming directs your unwanted things to people, places and organisations that will ensure it is used and has a positive impact on people. Now, this is the interesting bit for me, because I do worry about the fact that only 30% of what goes to charity shops get sold. Now, some of them do brilliant things with the other things, but that requires us asking questions. And I was in my local charity shop yesterday, Florence Nightingale, and I was talking to them about this. And next week, they're going to have a big rack of what they're going to call perfectly imperfect, which are bits of clothing that need a button or a zip replaced. And they're doing a sustainable fashion week and really promoting the fact that they do want these things to have a home. Because generally, if a charity shop gets something that isn't good enough for someone to put on straight away and wear, so it's either got a stain or needs a button replaced or a zip replaced or a hole, it will go in what's called the rag bags. Now, I'm sure there are listeners out there who know the different ways that charity shops do that, and I'm not saying it's all bad, but it is a worry to me of what happens with the things that are not good enough to sell. The article goes on to talk about how mindful rehoming makes sure that we put thought and effort into things so that nothing is disposed. And the future homes for your things might be found on your phone. So they actually suggest sharing on social media and talking to friends and family. So that inspired me to think about the fact that those of us who virtually or in real life are connecting with the sewing community, is there a way to mindfully rehome our toiles, our items that don't fit us anymore or that we don't love? We perhaps made it in a fabric that doesn't work for us. So I'm putting a little challenge out there to you. If you're someone who goes to a social, runs a social, attends a virtual, is there a way you can encourage others to help you and themselves to mindfully rehome those sewing projects that you're not going to wear, whether they're finished or not? And I think we need to get better at offering and accepting them. Some lovely person, I must reply to them, has sent me an email offering me one of their Seasons of Ease dresses because it doesn't work for them. So I think we really need to get into a cycle. How amazing would it be to set up an app where people could just do a straight sort of exchange and just pay postage and things? Because most of us don't actually want any money for them. We just want to know that it's going to get a home. So I'm putting that out there. It says, make a stranger's day, put them on a Facebook marketplace, talk to your neighbours. Oh yes, so the app is called Nextdoor or Buy Nothing Group. So you might surprise yourself if you pop something on one of these groups and say, finished handmade coat, doesn't work for me, would anyone like it? We sometimes get a bit uncomfortable, don't we, that we've made it and people won't think it's good enough, but actually don't underestimate the quality of what you make versus what the quality of what's made in shops. it does say find mutual aid groups, local shelters and specialist organisations. Now, this is something I have been starting to spot on my journey around Kent, is actually there are charity shops and sort of charity collective organisations building up haberdasheries that people can donate to and also pay what you want to take from. I found one recently in Ashford in Kent, and it was upstairs in a shop that downstairs sold all things made in the local area. So they are really happy to take anything to allow other people to be able to be crafty. Because just imagine that dress that you started and didn't finish because you didn't love it, someone else might want to. So I know we have, between Mary and I, been running the social directory. Wouldn't it be great if there was a way to find where everyone could donate their haberdashery, part finished projects, those sort of things? And I know Yvette has done some great things with this as well. And there are lots of sort of swaps popping up, but they're generally for pieces of fabric rather than part finished projects. So leaving everyone to have a think about that. It does talk about like homes for specific things. So professional and work clothes, don't underestimate the quality of your makes again, can go to charities such as Dress for Success or Careers Closet. Electronics can go to school STEM programs, and there's a lot of repair groups popping up as well. And look out for tool libraries, and just going to get something else there. Lots of book charity shops, which I think are brilliant. And actually in Buckinghamshire has popped up a free book place where people can come and take 3 books each. And then it says here, sewing machines, craft, art supplies, find your local creative reuse centre / second-hand craft supply store. They are out there. We need to start Googling them. In many areas there are scrap stores that are either run by local councils or charities. When I worked in a school, I used to go to get things for my school. So again, see if you can find your local scrap store to donate things. So you might think, oh, but it's this or that. Somebody who's learning to sew might really want those things, and if you pop them on like Facebook Marketplace, they may really love the chance to take them and use them. So, mindful rehoming. I could have stuck a binding on that quilted jacket and popped it in a charity shop. It may never have sold, and then it would have ended up possibly at a rag bin or in another country somewhere. Instead, it's gone to another sewist's home who will finish it, love it, and wear it. And I think the mindful rehoming is about trying to get our things to people and people who want them, rather than this sort of anonymous donation. Now, I'm not saying don't donate to charity at all. What I am saying is just consider what you've got and think about, is there a route for this item? And I know the lovely Mary found a school for us in the local area that were happy to take fabric scraps, because if they're doing projects like bunting making, toy making, all those sorts of things, it means they can use them rather than needing to buy new fabric. I quite like this quote at the end of the article, which is, be aware that the easiest way of rehoming things for you may not be easy for the people, animals and plants living downstream from your unwanted items. Mindful rehoming is worth the time and effort. So I know lots of you out there are very conscious of these things, and this is not about saying don't sew a toile, because as you know in Jess and I's episode, we're advocating toiles and not feeling we have to wear them, and that there is to an extent going to be an element of waste in our hobby, and that's okay. But what we want to do is think, what can we do with this? There will always be an element of failure, because if we're not taking risks and trying things, there will always be an element of failure, because if we're trying things and taking risks and trying new patterns and trying new ideas, they cannot all be successes for us. But what doesn't work for us could work for someone else. So my call to action to you all is Talk to the people who you go to socials with. Talk to the person who runs the social. Talk to each other. Pop something on Instagram. Let's get used to offering part finished or finished projects that someone else might want that we don't. Because it doesn't mean it's not nice fabric. It doesn't mean it's not good quality. It means it's just not working for us. So I hope you enjoyed my little bonus episode on mindful rehoming. I would love to know your thoughts. Reach out to us on the podcast, on Instagram, or on the Ko-fi account where these episodes get posted for you. Leave a comment, message Jess, message myself, talk to us if you see us. We would really love to hear your thoughts and ideas on this. And if anyone would like to get working on something around this, maybe it's a challenge, maybe we need to do something with that, I would love to do that with somebody. If anyone has got the energy and the brain space to do that right now, I could live 5 or 6 lives to do all the things that pop into my head. But lovely Biscuit Tin members, this is your October bonus from me. In November, you should hopefully hear from Jess too. Make sure you keep watching on the Ko-fi account because the newsletters will appear there too. We really love hearing your feedback about anything because otherwise it can feel like we're shouting into the wind. And so we really like to know what touches you, what really resonates with you, and also what you'd like to hear or see. We are going to be planning what to do for the rest of this year soon, and also season 3. So now is the time to get your thoughts and ideas in. And also a little plea, if you have a dilemma, make sure you reach out and let us know. It doesn't have to be sewing, great, but it can be any kind of dilemma. Jess and I love a good chat through, a bit of being an agony aunt there. But we really appreciate you for being around and supporting us. And we really hope that you are enjoying what you get from us. We love every comment and every bit of feedback that you get. Catch you again soon. Bye.